Hello, everybody. Can you guys hear me? You guys know I'm terrible about figuring out my mic.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, I heard myself. Okay, I can hear myself. Oops, did not have my stream muted. That is a jump scare. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Today I'm with Atharia and MrFightMonster118. Atharia is making her introductions on her own channel really quickly, and then she'll hop over here in just a few minutes, and then we'll kind of get started. But until then, it's just me and MrFightMonster, and just kind of like a brief rundown as far as what we're going to be talking about today. Obviously, we'll talk about that Bloomberg article and all of that really super awesome stuff. And then we're going to talk about Mass Effect 5, the TV show, the Expanse game, Exodus, kind of talk about some things that we saw at the Game Awards show this last weekend, and just kind of get, everybody's opinions on everything. It's been a while since I've streamed. Hopefully today we can go for maybe 2 hours, maybe. We'll see. I don't know if I'll be able to do it that long. I don't feel super good, but we'll see. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. And Fight, do you want to give a little bit of an introduction to your channel and kind of what you are? And I will link your channel in the chat here in a second.
Yeah, totally. So I do a lot. The two main games that I've been covering mostly on my channel as of recent have been Mass Effect and Starfield, which is pretty sad because both of those games are kind of quiet right now. But I do a lot of, Starfield modding, Mass Effect modding. I've done theory videos for Mass Effect before. I do a lot of news coverage for Mass Effect and things like that, and other different sci-fi video games I'm interested in. I've just recently started doing Exodus content, and I plan on definitely doing some Expanse stuff as well. So that's kind of the rundown of what you can expect from me.
Awesome. Well, I just linked your channel here so that people can go check you out. And then yeah, I'm looking at Atharia's channel. She's just kind of saying hello to everybody. And then in the background here, I have a collage of all of the Exodus trailers kind of put together. So if you're wondering what you're looking at, this is, I think it's maybe all of the cinematics that we've gotten for Exodus. And when we talk about other topics, I'll switch over so that you guys can see the corresponding game. But yeah, how is everybody doing? I see some familiar faces in here. Thank you guys so much for joining. Fight, what are you currently playing?
So for the past, month and a half, ever since I finished Expedition 33, that glorious game.
Oh my god, it's so good, right?
Yeah, oh my gosh, game of the year. But ever since then, I've pretty much been playing Oblivion, the Oblivion remake. So been pretty glued to that, which makes me also just want to play Skyrim again, and it's a whole deal right now. But the short answer is the Oblivion remake has been consuming most of my attention.
It just got a major update, right?
Yeah, I think so. Finally,
oh, that's good.
They just kind of released it and then didn't do anything with it.
Yeah, I haven't really been. I started playing it, but then I keep coming back to Clair Obscur and Cyberpunk. Like I cannot let go of Cyberpunk. It's just sometimes I'll just open it and use photo mode for a few minutes or for like a few hours, and then I'll go play something else. But I cannot let go of Cyberpunk. And I just saw today that there's a Witcher 3 DLC rumored to be in the works by Fool's Theory, the studio that CDPR is collaborating with, which is really cool. Yeah.
That photo mode in Cyberpunk is something special.
It's so good, right?
Yeah, it's its own game.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it literally is. It's awesome. Yeah, and I did see that some people are waiting for physical copies of Clair Obscur. I know that it's like shorthanded, like just about everywhere right now. which is awesome for the studio, but I feel bad for all the people that are waiting. I've seen quite a few people talk about wanting to get a physical copy and they're just not able to.
I think I saw that they put the collector's edition back up for sale too.
I did, yeah. I think they're taking pre-orders for that.
Yeah, I will definitely be going back to that as soon as I can. That game is awesome.
Yeah, I'm on my third playthrough right now.
Third?
Yeah. Yeah, I love that game. I think it's so freaking good.
Hardest difficulty now?
No, I'm using cheat engine to skip the combat. I'm just here for the story. Because I'm doing all my analysis videos, I'm like going back and trying to like look around at locations and really study the scenes and like a little bit of their nuances. And obviously no spoilers, but like the game is very it's like all subtlety. It's things that you have to pay attention to really see. So I've been having a lot of fun going back and revisiting the game and finding stuff that I haven't seen, and also collecting some really amazing footage. That game is so pretty.
Oh yeah.
Like, I actually really do think might be the prettiest game that I've ever played, which like Cyberpunk is right up there, but there's something about like Cyberpunk is a very gorgeous game. I love the design, but the artistry of Clair Obscur is like unmatched, and I'm just absolutely obsessed. So if you guys haven't played it, absolutely play it. It's so good.
It runs super well too. Like, I'm surprised the performance on that game is as good as it is.
Yeah, I haven't had a single issue.
Yeah, it's awesome. I can't wait to play it again. Even though it does have the hardest story mode I've ever seen in a game before.
Yeah. The story mode is not easy. That's why I'm using cheat engine. I was like, you know what? I played through the story normal once. I'm good. Plus my hands have been bothering me, so I've been trying to like limit the buttons that I'm pushing anyways, but yeah. And I, like Abby said here, like going in blind, I think that's such a good way to experience that story. It's so good, and going in blind makes it so much better.
That first playthrough threw me for a loop. I haven't felt that experience from a video game story in a pretty long time.
Yeah, same. So hopefully everybody can play. I really do hope that it wins Game of the Year. And then I also, at the Game Awards, I would really love to see it not only sweep all of the awards, but also I want to see a live performance of some of the music, because the music is just so fucking good.
That would be awesome if they brought back the people that they used for the music to sing.
Yeah,
everything.
I would love that. I think that would be great.
Well, no GTA 6 this year, so we got a chance.
Yeah, next year is stacked though. I am like, we're already getting so many crazy games next year. It's like hard to imagine, like Blood of the Dawnwalker, obviously Exodus. I think people are speculating that the Expanse game is also going to be next year. Then we're getting Fable, Grand Theft Auto 6. I mean, it's just next year. And I know there's more. I have them written down somewhere. But yeah, next year is going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot. I'm super excited.
Yeah, me too. Also, hi, Ethan. Thank you for the $5. Ethan says, hope everyone's having a good one. Can't wait for all these awesome new RPGs. Also just started Chapter 2 of Expedition 33. I'm in pieces. Oh, man. Wait till you get the end of Act 2. Absolutely insane. So much better than Act 1. I love seeing people's reactions of the end of Act 1 and then the end of Act 2. So have fun. It's really, really good.
End of Act 1 wrecked me, so I'm right there with you, Ethan. But yeah, the whole game, like, it just keeps getting crazier.
Yeah, no, it's so good. Okay, I think Atharia is still kind of...
I'm here.
Oh,
hello.
Oh, you're here. Perfect timing.
Hello.
I was just opening your chat to take a peek.
She manifested you.
Oh, 100%. No, yeah.
Okay, so let's kind of talk about the elephant in the room, because I feel like we have to talk about the article. Bloomberg published an article yesterday, and honestly, I think a lot of people were genuinely surprised, but I'm not sure why. I think that I understand for the people who haven't been following Dragon Age, but for the people who have been following the development of this game, the writing has been on the wall the entire time. Like, we've known for years about what EA was doing, flip-flopping between single player, live action, Joplin being scrapped. So I was honestly kind of surprised to see a lot of the reactions yesterday, to be honest. But anyways, the article is pretty damning. It basically tells a very sad story of how Dragon Age Veilguard was just absolutely fucked, not only by EA, but also, and I don't think this is going to make people happy what I'm going to say, but if you read the article, then you would know that there seems to be some issues with the Mass Effect leadership taking over Dragon Age, excluding Dragon Age leadership, holding secret meetings, and essentially taking the reins on the project, getting funding for the ending that Dragon Age couldn't get for funding for their own project. It tells a very fucked up story of what's going on at BioWare and this favoritism of the Mass Effect dev teams, which is what David Gator has really been talking about for a long time. I mean, him and Mark Dara have been kind of talking about their experiences with BioWare and their past, and I think it's really sad because everything in that article really just reaffirms what they've said. And I think a lot of people, like Hall Reaver, I think a lot of people were already skeptical of BioWare, and now, even I am like, I guess we'll see. Like, my expectations are so far in the ground at this point. I'm not even optimistic at this point. But how are you guys feeling? How are you after seeing everything in that article, after kind of watching the layoffs and what's been going on with BioWare? I mean, how are you guys feeling towards BioWare and Mass Effect right now?
Well, or sorry if I did you want to go ahead?
No, you go.
I just wanted to bring up, Kala, like, we had discussed back in December, I feel like, of the whole, like, the Mass Effect team being the big brother, and then Dragon Age being, like, the little brother, where, like, they just kind of get, forgotten, and the Mass Effect team just kind of gets their way, I guess. I feel like we had discussed that at some point. So, yeah, everything in the Bloomberg article didn't come as a huge surprise. And I think what I felt a huge just range of emotions after reading it, because one, I felt just devastated and frustrated for the Dragon Age devs, because I'm pretty sure whatever the Mass Effect team came in and did from 2023 onward was something that the Dragon Age team wanted to do, but it sounded like they had been set deadlines that, obviously kept getting pushed back and stuff like that. So they couldn't do the thing that the Mass Effect team did anyway.
Yeah, and Jason Schreier, actually, to add a little bit to context, because exactly what you said right there is definitely true. Jason Schreier posted today on Blue Sky that basically the team kept basically being told that they need to release the game within 6 months. Like, it was such every time they got an extension, it was only another short extension, so they still couldn't plan far out to compensate. And also, before we really get too into it, I don't care if people don't like the game. That's totally fine. We're just talking about the messed up development behind it. You guys are totally allowed to hate the game. I understand. I get it. But we're just talking about just kind of the fucked up development behind the actual game itself, and like why a lot of things are the way that they are. I just want to say that really quickly.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah, sorry. Continue what you were saying.
No, yeah. I wanted to bring that up because I was feeling the range of emotions, because obviously frustration for the Dragon Age devs was there, because I think they wanted to do what the Mass Effect team eventually did in Act 3 of the Veilguard, which I don't know if we're avoiding spoilers or whatever, but anyway, I guess we can get into it later. But another thing was I almost felt that I don't know if relief was the right word, but like somewhat relieved that the Mass Effect team somewhat has the ear of EA. Like just removing the whole like the Dragon Age team got screwed and that's super annoying and frustrating. It seems like the EA execs trust the Mass Effect team on some level. Which kind of gives me more hope for the next Mass Effect than I already had. Like it's already like pretty small, but that at least, you know, somewhat was relieving to see. But again, it was just tinged with the whole like, okay, well, why didn't you just trust the Dragon Age team that way as well, right? Yeah, and I'm not too sure the extent of, you know, what the Mass Effect team did exactly, but I know you had talked about it, Kala, how
They did Act 3.
they did Act 3, right? Yeah. And when I was playing through the Veilguard, I finished it, I think, like a month ago. Act 3 was really good. Like,
Act 3 is really, really, really good. No, I totally agree.
But the fact that it took 50 hours to get there is, you know, like, and it just shows that how hindered the original Dragon Age team was by just all of these decisions that EA handcuffed them with, right? So yeah, like if like the Act 3 of Veilguard is what the Mass Effect team can pull off and is what the next Mass Effect game could be from the get-go, then I have a lot of hope for it being like received really well. Yeah, so that was just my initial thoughts on it, but yeah, go ahead, Fight.
Yeah, I think on, you know, the point, the big bombshell of the article yesterday was obviously the Mass Effect team and how they were able to get what they wanted when the Dragon Age team couldn't. And someone in the Discord yesterday did make a good point that someone on the BioWare lead team, or maybe all of the Mass Effect leads, maybe knows how to deal with EA better or has better relationships with the people at EA that they report to
I think it's
directly.
Gamble. Yeah, I think it's Gamble.
So Gamble then, you know, might know how to just deal with that lingo better or has a better relationship with someone at EA, which is totally possible. So I could see how that could, you know, have influenced things in that regard. As far as like what this does for my hope and expectations for Mass Effect, I'm definitely on the hopium side of things, but you know, over time that does get just a little bit lower and lower. But the things that I look at is just like you guys were talking about, the Mass Effect team did make Act 3 of Dragon Age: The Veilguard, which in my opinion is the best part of the entire game and one of the best sequences that BioWare's ever made. Is that last final act of the Veilguard. So that kind of quality that team was able to produce, and if they can take that into the next Mass Effect game, I think that's a pretty good sign myself. But kind of like what I was mentioning yesterday is that like I kind of hate how we got to this point, but I do think like where they're at right now, it's still pretty possible that we get a good Mass Effect 5 out of all this.
Yeah. No, I agree, and like I really do think that Act 3 is genuinely the strongest part of the game, but it's so frustrating knowing that knowing that the Dragon Age team wanted to do something bigger, but were not given the resources to do so. But when the Mass Effect team asked, BioWare and EA were like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead."
Yeah, that's messed up.
Yeah, and you know, there's been contentions. There's been contentions between the two teams for so long, and this seems to really be like the culmination of it. And in the end, I mean, the Mass Effect team won, the BioWare team or the Dragon Age team is gone. So it's so fucked up that this is where we are, and it makes me a little bit bitter to know what went on behind the scenes as far as like what the devs were actually doing. I have some like pretty complicated feelings just because, you know, I got to meet the devs, the Dragon Age devs, and I saw how much they were fighting for stuff, but like I know people are mad that there isn't a ton of choices, but they weren't given the resources to put them in.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just a really sad situation, and I think a lot of people are angry, and I also think at this point a lot of people are just not sure how to feel about BioWare, Mass Effect, Mass Effect 5, and Dragon Age. And someone in chat did point out something that is true. Dragon Age Inquisition outsold Mass Effect, and Dragon Age has always been extremely successful, but BioWare just didn't know what the fuck to do with them. EA didn't know what the fuck to do with BioWare, and so we end up in this cycle of like, hey, every game, let's just like do something new and like fuck it up. Like, hey, remember that Origins game that like everybody loves and is still begging for? No, let's move further and further away from that every game. I don't understand it. I think it's absolutely insane. But watching what EA has done to BioWare is just infuriating. And at the end of the article from yesterday, there's only a few dozen devs on Mass Effect. Like it's like around 50. And I know this. It is not a large amount of devs at all. The EA Edmonton, or the BioWare Edmonton location is now EA Edmonton. Like there's BioWare basically doesn't exist at this point. It's just a few devs with no location anymore. The other locations in the US are gone. Now the location in Canada is gone. I fully am scared that Mass Effect is going to be shut down. BioWare is going to be shut down. And I think that's why I'm like so hesitant on making content about Mass Effect right now, because I feel like, why should I continue to invest in like my time and energy into a game that I don't even know is going to make it to the finish line? Do either of you feel a little bit like I do, or am I just so cynical at this point that that's how I've become?
No, I don't think you're cynical. I think it's totally understandable to kind of have these thoughts and feelings, because like all we've heard from the BioWare studio this entire year has been nothing but bad news, and they had a gigantic layoff at the beginning of the year. And we've also have heard no official news regarding the next Mass Effect game in almost 2 years. So there's not a whole lot to really grasp onto when it comes to thinking that this is even going to happen at this point. I still think it is going to be made. I think this is probably going to be their do or die project for BioWare as a whole. And I really do think that it's still going to happen because of Mass Effect Legendary Edition 2 and how much of a success that was.
What about you, Atharia?
I definitely agree. Sorry, I'm also trying to get my HDD set up over here, so I might have to mute for a second. But I think I definitely feel more hesitant about the next Mass Effect getting made, but also what the Bloomberg article did show is that, like Fight had said, like the Mass Effect team has more leeway, and I think part of that is because of the Legendary Edition, which I also think is tied to Gamble. Like I had done this huge video on how if you look through like everybody's LinkedIn profiles and stuff like that, because like obviously I had no life and I just looked through everybody's LinkedIn profiles, you can kind of piece together how Gamble was the one who pushed the Legendary Edition. And I feel like that's why he has more kind of, I don't know, clout, if that's the right word, with the EA execs. So I don't think that the next Mass Effect's going to be some type of we're going to give you 300 devs to like get this game done. I do think the team is going to be smaller, especially because Gamble had put out a tweet at some point on the Claire Obscure team being small and said small agile teams can get it done or something like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if the dev team for the next Mass Effect is smaller. But yeah, I feel like at this point, at least on the stuff that I'm covering on my channel as well, like there's not a lot of theory stuff that you can cover, especially because the game might not be made. but I love the Mass Effect IP enough that I feel like I would cover it even if it gets canceled. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's how I'm feeling about it. Like I can separate my feelings toward like just all of the chaosness that's happening at BioWare from I just like love Mass Effect, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
that's how I feel about it.
I also think it would be extremely strange if they move forward with this Mass Effect TV show and then shut down the franchise studio. I think that would be a little weird.
Oh, I agree, but I don't underestimate what EA would do. Like
Exactly.
I think they want to invest in Mass Effect and want to see it succeed. But even in the Bloomberg article yesterday, they said that if BioWare shut down tomorrow, they wouldn't be surprised. So I think it's really hard for me to be like, oh yeah, it's definitely gonna happen. It's definitely, for sure we're gonna get the game. But I don't feel like that anymore. So yeah, I don't know. But I do think like because of the situation that BioWare and Mass Effect 5 are in, I have very much shifted focus to Exodus and now the Expanse Osiris Reborn game, which I am extremely excited about.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Expanse. I'm a really big fan of the show. I haven't read the books yet, but so I'm really excited about the other sci-fi games that are kind of coming in to fill this void, especially while we wait for Mass Effect if it happens. So for me, I feel like I guess I'm kind of pessimistic, and I'm like, well, if Mass Effect doesn't happen, at least we're gonna get these other hopefully amazing sci-fi games to kind of, I don't want to say take its place, because I think that people who have that sentiment of like, oh yeah, we're gonna replace Mass Effect, you're never gonna replace Mass Effect. It's never gonna be replaced. Like, that's, the original trilogy is irreplaceable. But I hope that there being more room and more space for sci-fi RPGs reaffirms BioWare and EA that, hey, people really want this genre and these games are inspired by Mass Effect. Don't fuck up the next game.
Yeah, and I think one interesting thing to think about now too is, let's assume all 3 of these games do come out and happen. What are the chances that both Owlcat Games and Archetype Entertainment make a better Mass Effect game than BioWare with the next Mass Effect game? Like, I don't know if I'd rather like see both of these 2 games come out and completely outshine Mass Effect 5, or have Mass Effect 5 come out and still kind of rank higher than those 2. It's an interesting thing to think about that I've thought about the past few days.
Oh yeah, I think that I've been thinking about it too, but not necessarily from that perspective. More from the perspective of how different each franchise really is. Because when I was watching the Expanse trailer, and I just watched the first episode of the Expanse last night, it's very hard sci-fi. Like
and the game is going to be as well.
Yeah, like it showed you in the trailer, the effects of gravity and stuff. Like, we only really saw the effects of gravity in one mission in Mass Effect 3. With that where you're kind of walking, it's on where you're trying to get Legion back, I think. But like that's like a constant, it feels like, in, like they made in the Expanse trailer an emphasis of the gravity boots thing, like clicking it on and kind of landing. And just based on like watching the first episode, like air and water are the main problems, on like places like Ceres. So it's a completely different vibe. And from what I know, no spoilers, I don't think there's aliens necessarily in the Expanse. So I think that like it's gonna be completely different. I appreciate that the Expanse devs said that it was inspired by Mass Effect, but I don't think it's going to feel like a replacement or something like that. I think you can compare the two, but I feel like maybe Exodus is going to be a much closer kind of rival to Mass Effect because of the way they've kind of set it up, like there are not actual aliens. Like obviously there's gonna be the evolved humans, and things like the changelings and a whole bunch of other types of races. I feel like that one is gonna feel a lot more kind of Mass Effect-y, but it also has its own thing with time dilation. Like that's not a Mass Effect problem at all, right? So I feel like they're each gonna feel very, very distinct. And I think that even if the next Mass Effect doesn't get made, people will still be missing that spark and magic of Mass Effect. Like the Asari, the Turians, and just like I feel like the Expanse and Exodus might shy away more from the AI perspective. And with the current day and age and everything we're dealing with AI just, coming into every single part and affecting every single sector of the world, I feel like if the next Mass Effect gets made and all of them just kind of stand alone, that people will be drawn to what the next Mass Effect story will be, if they do AI again, which I think they will. So that was kind of my thoughts on how they each kind of, Exodus, the Expanse, and Mass Effect will, like, they're all sci-fi, but they will each stand alone. And I think that people will always love Mass Effect for what it is.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think,
agree too.
Well, I think lore and story-wise, it's going to be completely different, like you were saying. But I think game design-wise, they might feel pretty different, which is where I think a lot of the comparisons and expectations are going to come in. If that makes sense. Like, I feel like every game has, like, the two companion system, all third-person shooters, all in space, things like that. So I think that's where that can kind of be drawn into how heavily compared they could be, is like the actual video game part of the game. But yeah, like you said, as far as the lore and story goes, it'll have a completely different feel than Mass Effect.
And I feel like lore is what people are drawn to. At least that's what I'm drawn to, Like when I was watching The Expanse, the alpha gameplay in the trailer, I was like, you could have plucked that out of like any kind of, sci-fi shooter game out there, I didn't see anything like super mind-blowing. So I feel like the lore would be the draw, at least for me, because I don't play like a lot of shooter games by default. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that each game does have the potential to really be unique, but I still think that just because each game is going to have its unique thing, like, I do think that Mass Effect leans more into like the sci-fi fantasy than the Expanse does. Like the Expanse is more like, it's hard sci-fi. That's how that's how it's described. That's how they've described the game so far. But I still don't think that just because these games are going to end up so different that I can put any trust into EA that they will care to keep it a thing. And like, I need to see proof of life, I think, is where I'm just at with the game. Like, I want to see that the game is happening. I want to see that there is something to be invested in, to be excited about. And I really hope that this N7 day is not like last year again. Oof. Where they're like, hey, we're not doing anything, bye, because that kind of fucking sucked. And it also meant that there was nothing to speculate about, there was nothing to talk about, there wasn't really anything to keep the conversation around Mass Effect going, unless it was negative, like unless we're talking about the layoffs or, EA closing studios or articles like this. So I really think if they want to, like, I don't know, take hold of the narrative again, they need to do something that reassures fans and makes people excited about Mass Effect right now. Because even around like the TV show, I'm still seeing people being like, oh, this is going to be ass. And to be fair, my expectations are like on a scale of 1 to 100. My expectations for the TV show are even less than the game, because how many good video game adaptations do we actually have these days? Even The Last of Us, which was good for the first season, took a crazy nosedive in the second one. So yeah, I'm just feeling very bleak about Mass Effect right now, personally.
At least we got a good board game.
True.
Oh
that's
yeah,
true.
yes. The board game was awesome.
But I've played it enough. I need something more tangible.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh man, yeah. I guess on that note, if we're talking about the pessimism that Kala has, and I'm far into the hopium side, I guess Fight has already said you're in terms of where you land for the next Mass Effect, you're more on the hopium side.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I will always think as optimistically as I can regarding Mass Effect. It's my favorite IP of all time, my favorite game franchise ever. So like I will always want the best for it, and I will always, hope that I get the best out of it. Just because, as far as Mass Effect content goes, so far I've never been disappointed. Like I'm a big Andromeda defender too, so like I just love this world. I love the games, I love the books, everything. So I just want more of it, and I want it to be good, which is why we have these conversations as well. But for the most part, I will always lean towards that hopium optimism side regarding it, just because I love it so much. So
that's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so I guess can I jump into my my one segment here that I have for you guys? We're gonna put Kala and Fight through the somewhat theory ringer. I don't know. And anybody in the chat, feel free to play along, I guess. So the segment is Paragade Interrupt, and it's basically a Q&A where you have to answer yes or no. If anyone in the chat and my chat has any questions you would like these guys to have to answer related to the next Mass Effect, then feel free to pop that in the chat. But we'll just start off with these 5 for now, and discover where you guys land on the theory spectrum for the next Mass Effect. Okay, so question number 1. Will Garrus or Tali be in the next Mass Effect?
No.
Guys,
I think you're gonna find out that both Fight and I have very similar theories.
I think we're not supposed to elaborate, are we? We're not supposed to elaborate.
No. We can elaborate after the fact. This is just for my heart to just totally get speared through the.
People are gonna hate me after this.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Okay. This is gonna be
okay
great.
because Atharia's chat gets mad at me for.
Oh yeah.
They all because when we stream I always keep her chat up so that I can see what people are saying there too, and so I can give her the view. And
I will
they get
say,
mad at me.
Thanks, Kala.
I will say that what I want and what I think are 2 completely different things.
Yeah, that's
I
how
appreciate
I feel
that.
too. Yeah.
Okay, how about we do
that's how I
both?
feel too.
Okay, let's go through the list with what you think will happen, and then we'll go through the list again with what you hope will happen. How about we do that?
I love it.
Okay. So this is for what you think will happen in the next Mass Effect. So you both said no to Garrus or Tali being in the next Mass Effect. Will Ryder be a playable character?
No.
Okay. Will it take place over 100 years from the end of Mass Effect 3?
Yes.
Yep.
Do you want a new protagonist?
Yes.
This is great.
Oh God, that's the one. That's the one.
I feel like chat, like me and chat are just like devastated right now.
I'm so sorry, chat.
You're asking the tough questions.
I'm so sorry,
Okay.
chat.
Will you be crushed if Shepard doesn't return?
No.
This is technically
Okay, but
no?
wait.
No.
Okay, do you mean as like there's
Okay.
very different possibilities for Shepard to return. I want Shepard to return in the sense that people talk about Shepard. Maybe we see Liara as like time capsule. Maybe we see like flashbacks or VODs like of Shepard, but I don't think Shepard is going to be in the flesh. Like I don't think at all. Like I don't think we're going to see Shepard. I don't think Shepard is going to be a playable character or a kind of like a not a companion, but what am I thinking of? Like like an advisor. I don't think we're going to see that either. But I want to like I would love to see the Shepard VI. I think that would be funny.
Oh yeah.
But I want to see like Shepard honored in other ways.
Are you here for the Shepard AI?
No. No, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm more for the Shepard AI than I am actual Shepard.
Oh, okay. Let's
Interesting.
dive into that then, because that was basically my last question. We can go through it again after a bit of elaboration. Why are you more into the Shepherd AI than in the flesh OG?
So many reasons. I really want Shepard to just kind of stay in the trilogy and have that be Shepard's trilogy. I think having Shepard, especially as the main playable character in Mass Effect 5, would be an extremely desperate approach to things. And I mean, with the current state of EA and BioWare, I don't want them to like hurt Shepard's reputation or legacy as a video game character at all. So I kind of want just Shepard to kind of be, that legend, that like almost mystical figure that, the Stargazer talks about at the end of Mass Effect 3. And so
that's kind of how I feel too, yeah.
And so I want Shepard to kind of play that role, and like what Kala was saying, have Shepard or Mark Meer and Jennifer Hale included as Shepard in the game in other ways.
So like more of like an Anderson type character, or
I don't know about like an Anderson type character, but like kind of like what Kala was saying with flashbacks or different recordings or things we find, stuff like that. I don't think I would like Shepard included in a role like that, especially because in every ending besides one, Shepard dies. So I wouldn't want to like have to break all of those other different endings as a possibility in Mass Effect 3. And I know there's different ways that we've talked about that we can bring Shepard back, but I don't know.
I have counter questions.
Oh, okay.
I'm so
Here
scared.
we go, Kala's counter questions. I'm actually scared now, yeah.
Okay, here are my counter questions. And they basically kind of explain why I feel the way that I do, but so, okay, my counter questions. Do you trust the current writing team to write the Shepard that we knew, whose story ended in 2012, 13 years ago? Do you trust them to be able to recapture the writing that someone else did? Because there are no veteran writers on the current Mass Effect team that wrote for Shepard or any, like, no writer from the original trilogy. Even, oh my gosh, why can't I remember his name? That's going to piss me off. He wrote for the Normandy, and he wrote, like, the crew on the Normandy, and he was moved to another studio. So there is no writers from the original trilogy. Right? Who?
Not Lucas Christensen?
No, Lucas Christensen hasn't. He was fired, I think, in 2023. Okay. So do you guys trust the current writers to write Shepard that we knew but haven't known for 13 years and were written by someone else?
I do not.
Yes.
You do?
I do.
I do not at all.
I do specifically because I have been listening to Michael Tucker's Beyond the Screenplay podcast. And if you go look at, he actually did an episode on Mass Effect. He had gotten, I'm blanking on the guest he had on, but I think it was before he got hired by BioWare. So it was kind of more like his true thoughts, And he had a guest on from Game Maker's Toolkit, I think. I don't know who it was, the maker of Game Maker's Toolkit, the YouTube channel. And when I was listening to Michael talk about Mass Effect and what it meant to him, I knew that he gets it, And they were specifically talking about how Shepard is a hybrid of a like the traditional RPG protagonist to, fully just having no choice whatsoever. But go ahead, Gala.
I was just gonna say I know I watched what you watched, and I do think they have a good idea of the concept of Shepard. But the idea of someone writing Shepard with the same wit, the same humor, the same, like, I play a lot of Renegades, so like the same, pragmatic approach, like the Shepard has a very distinct tone, and they couldn't, they haven't been able to replicate that. Even BioWare, with some of their old writers, hasn't been able to replicate that with any of their other projects. So for me, when I look at it and I'm like, they have no senior writers who worked on the trilogy, why would I think that they could write the Shepard that we knew? Like, do I think they could write a Shepard? Sure. Do I think that they could write the Shepard that people are wanting back? No. I think that's like the main thing for me, is like, I just don't think that Shepard could ever be captured, especially without the people who created Shepard in the first place.
Yeah, I guess I'm also on the line of, if Mary DeMarle is on the team, I assume she is going to single-handedly write Shepard's lines. Like, assuming that when they hire a bunch of writers and each one is going to take like a companion, I assume Mary would be writing Shepard.
I mean, we don't know any other writers right now, right? We only know Mary.
So.
Yeah.
No.
Mary, and I don't even know if Michael Tucker's going to write. He's just the narrative designer, which I'm not actually sure what the difference is between the designer and the director.
That's a good question. I'm actually not
assume,
sure either.
Though, because Mary has written like she wrote for Guardians of the Galaxy, which won, best narrative design. So I assume, I guess where my hope comes from is from assumptions. So it's not like so solidly like set in stone. Like, once we actually start getting concrete information about like, okay, this is who's on the team and stuff like that, then I'm sure I'm obviously going to be changing my thoughts on it. But as of right now, assuming that Mary DeMarle is going to write Shepard, I would 100% want her to do that, because I think she would cook, and I think she would try her best to, if our Shepard does come back, to nail that, and I think she has the skills to do so. I guess that's where I'm at for that.
I think I want to see her write something new. Like, she's a very accomplished writer, like obviously like you were just talking about. I think I want to see a new take on Mass Effect. I absolutely trust Mary DeMarle, and is it Mary DeMarle? I can't remember.
I've never known.
I think it's Mary DeMarle.
I think it's Mary DeMarle, yeah.
Based on French. My Canadian French.
Okay.
I think it's DeMarle.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see. I think I'm just ready for something new. Also, to continue my questions, do you think that if Shepard returns, there is any room for new companions, new romances, or do you think that all of the past companions, all of the past romances would have to return as well?
That's actually my biggest reason on why I do not think Shepard is going to come back, as the main protagonist at least.
Yeah, I think so too. What do you think, Atharia?
I'm gonna be honest, I feel like I'm a little bit unhinged on this, but ever since Liara picked up the N7 insignia and like brushed it, I was like, the blue children are back on the menu. Like, this is gonna be like an actual thing that could happen. But again, I'm a little bit unhinged. But to the question, like, will it only be a cast of old companions? I don't think so. I don't think if Shepard comes back, they have to limit it to that. I think people want new companions, and I think that people would want to have like new options to romance Shepard, if that's a thing, whether it's like 10 years after the events of Mass Effect 3 or 700. I think that that could be interesting to see. So yeah, but also I'm definitely more unhinged. I'm like I see the Liara brush of the N7 insignia, and I'm like, I think I know what they're putting down, but I wouldn't be completely crushed if that isn't actually the case, and it's more along the lines of like what Calla, what you think, Liara's brushing it off in memory or something like that. That could be the case too. So,
and I guess my final question then, I think all of your theories kind of hinge on having Shepard return. Would you be disappointed, and would it impact your enjoyment of the game if Mass Effect 5 is not about Shepard?
No. And I think that people might have an impression that it would, because a lot of my theories are revolving around that, but that's just because I guess I'm able to separate like what I think is going to happen from my own expectations for what's going to happen. Like my current expectation for the next Mass Effect is it's just going to get canceled and not made. like that's where my that's where I'm at. So I don't get crushed, right? Like if you have any other expectations than that, you are gonna get crushed if this thing like blows up, right? And I don't know whether that's just because like I've been burned by a lot of fandoms, just like me just really like when I was in my teens, just really rooting for something to happen and it doesn't, and then it lets you down, and all that stuff. So my actual expectations are this thing isn't getting made, but for me just thinking about it, I would be over the moon overjoyed if Shepard comes back along with the old Normandy crew. But if they present to me a new protagonist and the development is not hindered by EA and stuff like that, I'd be here for that. I would play the hell out of that. So it's just that my theories are revolving around what I think is going to happen, not necessarily my expectations of what's going to be in the game. I don't know if that made any sense, but it makes sense in my head.
No, that made perfect sense, because I feel the exact same way, because obviously I have a preference on which way I think the next game should go, at least in my head, and what would scratch my Mass Effect itch. But like either way, whichever direction they're going, I'm still gonna love what I'm just gonna love if we have a game, like just make a game.
God.
Yeah.
And no matter what they do, as long as it's done well, it's gonna be a win for all of us. So
I guess I also have a counter question after that for you both. Is there any scenario or storyline where you would not play the game, even if it's Mass Effect?
Mass Effect Deception, the game.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
The worst novel ever written about an existing IP ever.
No, in the history. It
Yeah.
is the
Probably
worst
true.
book I have
Yeah.
ever read in my life.
It was so bad.
Genuinely is.
Yeah, I would not play Mass Effect Deception, the game. That's when I would stop.
Yep.
Other than that, we're good.
Down.
I would even be happy if we got Andromeda 2, which I know just probably made a lot of people mad. But
That's funny
even-
because I was about to
just
say
be
I
really
think
ready.
I would be less inclined to play it if it was Ryder. I would play it, but I wouldn't. My expectations. I think I would go in not being excited.
I feel
I
that.
don't dislike
Oh, I
Ryder,
would.
but I also don't like Ryder. I think Ryder is fine, but I'm getting old. Okay, I need a protagonist that is like, hey, let's get some shit done, instead of kind of having that younger attitude that Ryder had. I don't want it. I don't want it, and I don't think that's what Mass Effect should be, is that kind of young tone. And people get mad at me when I say that, but I mean, that's how I feel.
Would you play a mid-30s Ryder?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but
Look,
I
and-
need to feel that mid-30s, okay? I want to see someone who is like, hey, everything is fucked up. I think I'm just going to go walk off this cliff here, I'll get it done, but I'm not going to be happy about it. I want it, Ryder was so upbeat and, lost and was not a good leadership character. And I totally understand that Ryder didn't get 3 games to expand their character. I 100% know that. But Shepard still had that grounded matureness in Mass Effect 1. And granted, it did get better throughout the entire series. I still feel like Ryder... I'm sorry, but Ryder just annoyed the fuck out of me. I'm so sorry.
I need to hear Fight's response. I need to hear Fight's response.
Sorry.
Oh, I don't think you guys know who you're talking to here.
I know you love. I know.
I'm a knight for Mass Effect Andromeda. Even though Andromeda 2 is certainly not my first choice for what the next Mass Effect game should be, I would be so hyped. I would be singing its praises I would be super pumped, even though that would probably certainly mean that BioWare gets shut down if they ever release that game next.
Yeah. Can you imagine if they just went out in like a blaze of glory with Andromeda 2?
Oh, I'd be so excited.
I'm sorry, but that would be my nightmare. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, listen, I am an Andromeda defender too. Like, I will defend Andromeda. I think it's a good game, but I do think it's not a good Mass Effect game. When I think of Mass Effect, I think of like grit. I think of darkness, complexity. I think of like, it's a very mature adult story. At least it should be. It should be. And, you know, when I played the original trilogy, like I said, I play Renegade. I want to be a fucking piece of shit. I want to be an asshole. I want to feel like I can believe it. The idea of Ryder pushing someone out a window is like comical to me. Like there's no way that I could take that seriously. So I just don't want to see that again. I want to see something serious, and I want to see something where it feels like our character not only is not trying to be a replica of Shepard, because they're never going to be able to do that again. I want to feel like our next protagonist, if it is a new one, is like this new character that feels like it was for fans of the original trilogy who have aged since then. You know, I mean, people who play the original trilogy, it's been what, 2007 is when the first one came out. So it's been a very long time since those fans have grown up. They've aged. They're older. So I hope that they feel like they can move this series more into a mature tone. Like, I want to see darkness and grit and really all the things that Andromeda didn't have.
I agree.
It's interesting that you had said that you think it was a good game but not a good Mass Effect game, because I feel like I'm almost flipped on that. I feel like it wasn't a good game in terms of the story, but I was here for the Mass Effect lore. Like, I guess my feelings around Andromeda is just so complicated because I don't think I have a major problem with Ryder just as a person. But I think the story that Ryder was put into didn't fit who they were. You know, like they just randomly got Sam after the, I guess, spoilers for Mass Effect Andromeda if you mute for a second. You know, after Alec dies, and then, you know, Ryder just kind of gets Sam. And then they just kind of like if you think about the plot, it's just they have to put down, like they basically have to colonize the Andromeda, and they're running away from the Archon. Like that to me is Andromeda. And again, I only played it once. But I feel like the story let Ryder down, but I would be here for Ryder in a different setting. Even if like they have like somewhat of a similar personality. But yeah, it's interesting. We all have complete opposite sides of the spectrum there on Andromeda.
I think that's Ryder in the 2023 poster. I'm on that team.
Oh, do we want to get into that? Hang on, let me pull up. Okay, so the Geth poster?
The
N7
new
agent.
N7. Listen,
wait,
I'm
do
sorry.
you think the N7 is Ryder?
No. The character with the Andromeda shaped helmet that's standing by.
Oh yeah. No. Join the club.
That was 2022, right? I think that wasn't that 2022?
No, wait. Was it the
Mass Effect Will Continue poster?
The one. It's the one with
yeah,
like
it's the Mass Effect Will Continue
with
poster.
with the Geth and clothes.
Yeah, the bar scene.
Yeah, that's 2023. Yeah, let me pull it up.
Okay. I was thinking of the different. See, I think the one in the Mass Effect Will Continue poster does have the shape of an Andromeda helmet from the top down. I don't think Ryder is in the other one.
I think Ryder's in both, but you know me, I'm the
I'm gonna ram my face into my monitor right now.
in the bar scene one in the 2023 poster, I think it's Ryder and Jaw. I really do.
Oh, let's go. That is my type of hopium, okay? I'm here for that theory too, though.
I am so delusional.
I think it's Ryder and Jaw.
I am so delusional.
No, I'm here for that. It's Ryder, it's Jaw, it's Liara, and then there's a Geth and Clothes.
See,
I think it's Liara for sure. That's probably the most
I'm
likely.
sorry. I hate that. I'm sorry.
But that's not Garrus,
I'm so
though.
sorry. I really
want it to be Garrus.
Ryder annoys me. Ryder is like, okay, I've talked about this before, but during the council meetings for Dragon Age Veilguard, it's already out there. They were going to go with like a more Marvel tone, which they like shifted and changed. And part of the reason of that change is because the community council I hated Rook. We hated Rook, and in so many meetings, I would call Rook Ryder on accident because I hated him. And I was like, this is literally Ryder 2.0. Like, and I was like, and I said, like, I was like, you got, like, this has got to change. People are not, no. I was like, there's no way. There's no way.
I liked Rook.
Okay, the Rook that we got now is totally different from the Rook that used to be, though. That's the thing.
Oh,
It's
okay,
like, I'm
fair,
talking
fair.
about when we saw Rook a while ago, and all of us, not a single one of us, were like, we like this Rook. We were all like, hey, we all collectively don't like this Rook. Rook was like very, Rook was like Ryder. Like, there wasn't a lot of seriousness. There wasn't a lot of like, I don't know, mature tone. And oh god, I hated Rook. I like Rook now, but I hated the fucking original version. And Katie has talked about this, like we've all kind of talked about this. It's like not a huge secret or anything. But I hated the Rook that we were going to get and how much they were literally just Ryder 2.0. And I think if they did Ryder again, I think they'd have to change their personality like drastically. Like I could see a grown-up Ryder being in the game, maybe. Like a grown-up Ryder, fine. But they better have seen some shit, okay, that makes them like an adult. Yeah, they need to grow up.
The key, right, is that I think it's something specific to the sci-fi genre. Like, sci-fi is generally gritty and, like, I think that it's strange to see a personality like Ryder's in a gritty sci-fi, which people have associated, like, if you have 3 games of the trilogy, which were the first 3 games in the series, you're going to assume that kind of tone is continued, right? But I could see why the Dragon Age team would take a kind of more, like, less mature tone, just because I feel like fantasy, like, you can kind of get away with that. But I do think it doesn't serve Ryder well in Mass Effect specifically. Also, I have somebody in the chat saying that Kala hates kids.
That's why I said fuck them kids.
This just makes me so happy. Yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't have a problem with Rook, but I think I didn't have a problem because it was in Dragon Age, and because like Dragon Age kind of has that, like willing to laugh at itself, and just kind of somewhat goofy. Like it's way more goofy than Mass Effect is, right? Like I feel like the only goofy part in Mass Effect was the Citadel DLC, which was obviously like that was the end of the trilogy, and it was just let's throw a party because we can. So yeah, I feel like how does that somewhat ring true? The fact that sci-fis in general have just more gritty.
That I totally agree, because sci-fi is like at really the core of like a lot of sci-fi. It's supposed to be, I mean, this is not every sci-fi. This is like a very generalized, what I'm about to say is like, but sci-fi is usually like some sort of aspect of the exploration of humanity and the human experience.
Yeah.
And when I think about all of the sci-fi stories that I love, it's because I'm seeing an adult who has enough life experience to understand the gravity of what they're experiencing, to be old enough to have the reactivity that I would expect from someone who can really hold the weight of the stories. And when I look at Ryder, it's just someone who's very immature. I don't think they're like very emotionally intelligent. I don't think that they have the weight to like handle the stress and, you know, what it's like to lead a team. So when I think about what I want for the next Mass Effect, I'm like, hey, and this is the same for Exodus, this is the same for the Expanse. I want to see someone that feels believable in these positions of like, you know, of how fucked the world has become, of how much responsibility they have, the lives of their crew that they're having to, you know, be in charge of. So, yeah, I mean, they could maybe do that with an Andromeda too, but I still don't think that's what the next game is going to be.
Yeah. I totally get what you feel, though. Like, for me, it wasn't believable to have Ryder in charge. It was like Cora should have been in charge, or I don't know, done, like just someone with authority. And I think going from someone with so much authority with Shepard to Ryder
was jarring, yeah.
really jarring. Like, that was the thing. But also, I feel like Fight has gone a little bit quiet here. I feel like he's crying in the corner because we're just destroying Ryder. I'm so sorry,
broken.
Fight.
I'm broken.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Well, we're getting the Ryder twins back in the Expanse, so get ready.
That is true.
Wait, really?
For those who aren't following the Expanse, you are making a twin who,
oh yeah,
when you start off the game, you make a twin, but they're the same gender as you, unlike the Ryder twins, which are opposite. Your twin in the Expanse is going to look exactly like you.
And if I can name my twin, I'm naming them Ryder.
Oh, that's cute.
that's so sweet.
I will not be doing that.
Same.
I will not be doing that.
Your twin's name will be Shepard.
Oh, I'll be sad thinking. You know, I have a bunch of characters that are named after Shepard. Like, I play Final Fantasy 14, and one of my alt characters is named Inquisitor Shepard.
Oh, let's go.
But I always get so sad thinking about Shepard. I'm like, oh man. And one of my like retainers, which is like a character that holds all your shit. I made them this big beefy Rogadin. I don't think anybody in this chat plays Final Fantasy 14.
I do. I know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay,
I know what you're talking
yeah.
about. You go for it.
Yeah. So and she's like, you know, the Rogadin are huge, and she's got short red hair, and I put her in like this black leather suit. So I get to experience Shepard in my games, and then like I play Overwatch, and my Overwatch name is Lavelin, and dude, my characters are in everything. So I'll probably do that with the Expanse too.
So what you're saying, because I always find it so fascinating, because you love Shepard, right? But you wouldn't want them to be in the next game.
I love the Shepard because
they might hurt it. Right, yeah.
I love the Shepard that was, but I just, you know, my feelings towards BioWare at this point are very negative. And seeing them have so many fumbles, it does not inspire confidence. And I say that I still really, really like Veilguard, which I know is a very controversial opinion. Again, Act 3, absolutely amazing, but I still like the main story and all that stuff. But even still, I think Rook had issues. I don't like Ryder.
Ryder.
Yeah, so I don't trust
Rook,
them.
Right?
What's that?
Were you talking about the Veilguard and called Rook Ryder again?
No, I don't like Ryder. I like Rook. Rook is fine. But yeah, I don't have a lot of faith that they can capture that magic in a bottle again, and I don't want to get my hopes up that they could.
I
Yeah,
really
no,
want to. I
for
really
sure.
want to see Mary make her own character and her own cast of characters. I think that would be really well done by her.
Yeah, no, for
Yeah,
sure.
that's
I
how I
think we
feel
all just want to
too.
see Mary cook.
I just want to see Mass Effect. That's just all I want.
Yeah, no, for sure. I guess to segue off of that, do we want to talk a couple theories? We've kind of been talking about a few theories already, or do we want to jump into the TV show?
Why don't we talk about the TV show since we just
Okay.
got news about it the other day?
Let's do
Yeah.
it.
How are
Cal,
you
I feel
both
like you
feeling
know-
about the TV show right now?
Fight, you go ahead.
The way I feel about the TV show hinders pretty much on if they follow the story of the trilogy or not. If they do the trilogy story, I think I'm all the way out on the TV show, but if they do like their own little concentrated new unique story, I think I'll feel pretty excited about it.
That's how I feel too.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of ways that they can screw up the TV show. And I think, yeah, Kala had said there's just game adaptations don't do so hot besides for
Mhm.
like Fallout and season 1 of The Last of Us. So I think it depends on what they want to go for, right? Like if
Mhm.
this is going to launch, let's just hypothetically be like, okay, the next Mass Effect is for sure going to happen and they want to launch the TV show before then what type of show would they want to pull off before that game launches, right? Would they want to go the Shepard route? Like, I guess
Oh,
I guess here's a question for you guys. Here's a question.
I will actually jump off a cliff.
yeah, me too. I don't think
I'm
I'd watch it.
so
I'd be...
serious. Like, I would fucking hate if they made. I think, and I actually think it would be disrespectful. I know that's like a step like further than a lot of people are gonna agree with, but I think it would be disrespectful at this point to bring back Shepard, have them not be played by Mark or Jennifer, and also to have them have this like, you know, the face of an actor that, you know, whoever. And if I hear Henry Cavill, I'm gonna gouge out my eyeballs.
Do you want to hear my nightmare theory for
yes,
the TV
let's
show?
go for it. Go for it.
Is that they're going to do the Shepard trilogy to canonize all the choices so they don't
Stop
have
it.
to mess with anything
Oh,
in Mass Effect
my
5.
God.
Oh no, that would like
Fuck
set
off.
the fan base on fire.
It would, yeah, it would.
No, I don't think they'd ever do that.
That's my
really
nightmare.
don't think they'd ever do that. From what I can tell, right? Like Gamble is working on the TV show. From every tweet he's kind of put out, it generally seems to be like pro player choice. From what I can tell, it's very much like, you know, the whole we like multiple endings and, you know, like with regards to the one Paragon Renegade thing, I think he had replied to you, Kala, or no, that wasn't the one. He had said something along the lines of the whole reason that Paragon, like even though the majority of players chose Paragon, it didn't make Renegade any less like worthy of being there or something like that.
Yeah, they basically
it's
said that it
major
was
paraphrasing.
important that both exist.
Yeah, like it's just not just, yeah, like you can't just ignore one because people aren't choosing it type of thing. So I feel like because Gamble's working on it, that wouldn't happen. I'm hoping. Yeah, I guess thoughts on the TV show.
We've
kinda
seen people from like Neil Druckmann is part of the Last of Us show, and I'm sorry, but the second season was not good.
Yeah.
Like I genuinely think, like, I don't think it's like super terrible, but I don't think that they kept the heart of the show, and I think that they really sanitized the story for the sake of TV. Like, I don't know what the fuck they were thinking with season 2. I think it's not very good. So we've already seen, I guess what I'm trying to say is Gamble being attached to it gives me like a 1% increase in hope, but like my expectations are super fucking low still.
I feel pretty
Right.
good about it because it's Amazon doing it, and because I like the Fallout show a lot, and that was their most recent, you know, attempt at a video game adaptation. I thought that was pretty good, and I know it's the same kind of production people doing the Mass Effect show, so that makes me feel all right about it, and especially in the sense that Fallout is in the design of same universe but completely different and unique story, which is what I would want from this. So I think in a sense that makes me feel just a little comfortable about it, but whether or not that actually happens, who knows.
Yeah. I think my expectations for the show are already very low just because of the people that were announced for it and stuff. But I do have hope though with the showrunner, with Doug Jung.
Yeah,
just because of Mindhunter. Like just because of Mindhunter.
Yeah,
Daniel
I think
Casey,
that Ari Arad though, like that dude's resume, ooh, it's not good. It is not good. He has fucked up so many video game adaptations.
That's the Borderlands guy, right?
Borderlands and Uncharted, I think.
Yeah, so he did
Tom Holland as Shepard?
Tom Holland as Shepard? Dude, like that is literally, you have birthed a new nightmare for Kella.
Literally. Like, but they would do something like that. Like, I don't trust.
Oh man, I hope not.
I don't trust this. Like,
oh my god, what if they do a young Shepard? Oh no.
No. Hate. No. I'm looking at his resume right now, and it's Borderlands, Uncharted, Ghost in the Shell, Ghost Rider. Like, these are not good. These are bad.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see Henry Cavill either, because why can we not get a femme shep? Why do we get a bro shep? That, like, already there, it's dividing people.
What if it's Henry Cavill just as a new character though, just set in the Mass Effect universe? Like that I would be here for. Is he just too The Witcher for you, or
they
really
need to
like
just
him.
they need to stay away. They need to just stay away from the original trilogy. Just
no, I agree.
I'm also of the opinion that we don't need to have a celebrity. Like, I am down for new people, new faces, new actors. Like, it doesn't. I think we're at a really weird time when it feels like every major video game, it's like majority on-screen actors versus actual voice actors anymore. Like, why the fuck is Chris Pratt in everything? I hate that man.
Yeah.
Why? Like, I'm so.
I don't know why.
I hate it. And I mean, I know he was in the Mario movie, but I feel like we're seeing less and less actual voice actors, and it's like they're slowly being replaced by real actors. And I don't hate Henry Cavill. I just don't. I think he is too iconic to be in something like this. I would really just like to see someone new, I guess. I don't know. But I do hate Chris Pratt. I fucking hate him.
I have a new nightmare for you, Kala. So Henry Cavill as Shepard was the first one. But what about John Cena as Shepard? Someone in the chat said.
Ooh.
I'm leaving the chat.
You have to pick between Tom
Stream is
Holland,
over.
John Cena, and Henry Cavill as Shepard.
Oh my god. That
No.
I
refuse.
Can you imagine if they just put that to the fan base and they were like, "Hey guys, choose one of these."
I think I'd rather have like a fully CGI as Shepard with Mark Mir or Jennifer
That's what
Hale.
we want. I feel like that's what we all really want, and we all know it's going to be live action, and then it's going to flop, and then we're going to be like, great, like just like put it on the pile of all the other, adaptations and stuff like that. But yeah, I guess I had a question about okay, so Daniel Casey, who is he's
one of the screenplay writers.
Screenplay, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So he was reading Revelation. He provided an update on Instagram, I think. So
yeah,
he was reading.
He did post that back in that is a couple months old.
Yeah.
So just so people are aware, that isn't actually new. It's just no one really noticed it when it was posted. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is old.
Yeah. So he was reading Mass Effect Revelation, and he I don't have it in front of me, but the text he added was
Dog-eared.
dog-eared. Yeah.
So he was putting a
So
marker for him
he
to
was
come
putting
back
a
to.
yeah. So do you guys read into like? Do you take anything out of the screenwriter trying to engage with the material on that level, or do you think like the fact that he said dog-eared? Do you think that it's something more like? It could be. Could we see like the story in Revelation where it follows Anderson going after Saren in the show? Because if they're trying to build hype with the show for the next Mass Effect and Shepard does return, like, could you kind of see people watching the show, picking up the Legendary Edition, and then playing the next Mass Effect? Like, do you think that's the pipeline they're trying to create?
That's interesting.
Oh, it's
Go ahead, Kyle,
Dusty
sorry.
Everman who was moved off of Mass Effect. I'm looking at your stream. It was Dusty Everman. He worked on the Normandy and the entire crew, and he has been moved to Motive, I think.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, and he was the last original writer. So, yeah.
Okay.
Which sucks.
Yeah.
I think that's probably, though, to answer your question, I think that's probably one of the more exciting possibilities for the show, is like having it maybe be a retelling of Revelation or an adaptation of it, or something. It's something prequel based in general. I think would be a pretty safe choice too.
I feel like it would be fun to have a prequel more than something completely new. That's just my thoughts on it, though.
Yeah, I can get down with that. Yeah, that'd be super fun. And I think the writer, going in that hardcore into the Mass Effect world and reading one of the novels, I think that's a pretty good sign. It's clearly pretty invested in wanting to learn as much as they can about this world, because most Mass Effect fans that just played the games haven't even read the book. So it's seeing that the screenwriter wants to invest like that. That's a pretty reassuring sign to me.
I think that for me, I hate where the Fast and Furious movies went. So I'm not a fan of the things on Daniel Casey's resume either. Honestly, there's no one that really gives me much hope that is on the show so far. All the names that have been released, I just find pretty mediocre. I do like Mindhunter, and I know that there was like another show that people like of the Doug Jung guy that was just added, but Daniel Casey reading that both does absolutely nothing for me, because my expectations are in the ground.
Fair.
But I also think, like, if you're going to do a show about a world that already exists, that people have been invested in for years and years and years, the very least you could do is read the media and play the games. And we know he's played the games. Like, he did an interview in December where he talked about it. But okay, Tokyo Drift, yes. And I was a street racer when I was younger. Okay, I was very into it when I lived in Arizona, which is such a stupid thing to say. But I was obsessed with the Fast and Furious shows, or movies, until they became like these cheesy action, look, explosions and The Rock. I fucking hated it. And John Cena, right? I think John Cena maybe is in Fast and Furious now or something.
I don't know. I stopped watching after some point. Like,
they're not good anymore. They're not good.
At least maybe we'll get some sweet Mako scenes.
Philippe says Shepard in a tank top and says family to Sovereign. Oh my god, my worst nightmare. I can see it. And it's bad, but I can see it.
I feel like I just, if for the TV show, if it's anything above Deception, I would be clapping, like giving it a standing ovation. It's just like, that's where my expectation is at. Like, Deception is where my expectation is at for the TV show right now. So if it's above that, then I'm good.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too.
It's such a low bar.
Yeah. It's a really, really low bar.
It is, yeah.
But it's so true.
Did you guys want to jump into, because I'm just glancing at the clock here, we have about like 30 minutes left. Do you guys want to jump into the Expanse and just talk about
Oh, yes,
that
I
a
do.
little bit.
Yes,
'cause I
because
feel like
the Expanse looks amazing.
yeah. Oh, but before we do, okay, wait. I always have a note here, Kala, to always be like, do you have a crazy fact to share with everybody? Because I feel
Oh,
like it's
God.
become a thing. Just
Oh, I should
rack your
should have
brain
thought of one before.
while we jump into the Expanse.
Did you guys know that Superman is canon to the Mass Effect world?
Wait, what?
Yeah, you didn't
I
know
did
that.
not.
Yeah.
How?
It's like a series of Easter eggs, but basically like there's a planet and there's like kryptonite, and his planet exploded, and the ship that he was on matches the ship of like the first comic or something like that.
Wait, what?
Yeah. If you
Well, where do we
up,
find this?
well, I mean, I'm sure you can probably just look up Superman and Mass Effect. Let me see. Hold on.
I've never heard of this
Pull
before.
up I have never heard of this in my life. Like nobody in the comments or anything. Did you guys know that Spider-Man is canon?
No, Superman.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Superman is canon to the Mass Effect universe?
Yeah.
Never heard of that.
So Superman, there's a garden world circling the red supergiant SM-2183, which is, I believe that's the first Superman comic. And hold on, I'm looking here.
This
I
is
didn't
wild.
think
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's just like an Easter egg, but basically he's Superman, and he's like taken to the Citadel or something after his planet is blown up,
What?
and he's the only survivor. Yeah, there's a whole like tiny little plot line. I believe it was in one of the Mass Effect news. You know those like little news clips. Yeah, I think that's where it is. Yeah.
That's epic. Now I'm gonna have to go down a huge rabbit hole and figure out where that's
You'll
at.
learn something new every time we stream.
Every single time. Kala never lets us down, guys.
Next
You
time I'll
didn't
have to be
know.
more ready and like have something.
I'll prep
better.
you. It's okay. Before we go live, I'll
Yeah,
be like,
remind me.
yeah. I literally have a note. Like I call it Kala's crazy fact.
Well, now you have a new one to add. This one isn't
Yes.
like super crazy, but yeah, it's supposed to be
It's
Superman.
crazy.
It
No,
like
man, that's
references kryptonite, his home planet, and the comic and all that stuff.
That's awesome. Okay, thank you so much for that. That is
You're welcome.
That is epic. Okay, let's jump into the Expanse here.
Ooh.
I feel like maybe I want to get your guys' opinion on it because you guys
wait,
have
hold
watched
on, let
the
me-
show.
Before we continue really quick, I want to say that Jay Charlemagne, he's in chat right now and he knew that, and that's because Jay was the previous community manager for bioware and Mass Effect and Dragon Age. So of course he knew that.
Legend.
Let's go, Jay.
Also, hi Jay.
Legend.
Hi,
And,
Jay. Hope you're doing good.
Johnny says that he also knew that too. See, some people knew. I didn't just make it up. It's
Yup.
real.
They're lying.
It's a real Kala. You could tell me any crazy facts, and I would just like be gullible. I would be like, I would writer it. I would just
my God.
gullibly believe it.
I would never lie to you. It's true.
Okay, yeah, 100%. We never lie on the internet.
Yeah, where was
I love
Superman
that.
during the Reaper invasion?
Yeah, where was
True.
like maybe he tried to punch one and then like he got red beams into the abyss. Like maybe Superman died in the Reaper War.
The
Who
Reapers
knows?
were like, "Hey, grab that kryptonite just in case."
Oh yeah. Can
They
you
were
imagine
prepared.
a Reaper just grabbing one and just chucking it at Superman?
Actually, I think
Reapers
he's a
destroyed
baby.
Krypton.
I think the timeline of the like planet exploding, and I would have to pull up the wiki or something, but I think it happens around the events of Mass Effect 2 or 3 or something like that.
That's crazy. You know what? I want Superman as a companion in the next Mass Effect. If the
Oh my
timeline
God.
allows, I would.
No,
that
he's
would
too
be
much of
the
a goody two
funniest-
shoes. I
And you
find
know
him
who
boring.
played Superman? You know who played Superman?
Oh no.
God, you're not wrong.
Kala, time is a full circle, guys.
Oh my gosh, no, thank you. No, but okay, let's talk about the Expanse because this game looks absolutely insane.
Yes.
And it came out of nowhere.
Nowhere.
I feel like
Absolutely
it's so
insane.
rare. Yeah, it's like rare these days that games are announced and it's not leaked or like teased or known about. But this has been in development since 2021.
That's awesome.
Wait,
That
sorry,
means
which?
It's probably due to come out
The
soon.
Expanse.
Yeah. So I was looking into it because I was like, if it says it's wish listable, right? Then that means it. Do you think it's more on the side of 6 months away? Because it's usually 6 to 12 months before it comes out, right?
On their website,
Do you think we're
and
gonna
even
get
in
it?
the trailer, it says coming soon.
Could we get it like by the end of summer, or do you think more
No.
before October?
Maybe within the year.
Yeah, I think the pre-orders already being live means it's relatively soon. I mean, I assume this isn't Star Citizen where they're just
Well, to be fair, they're not technically pre-orders. They're calling it like a founders. Like, you get in early to be a founder of the program, so it's not actually a pre-order on the website. So, which is why I've heard that usually Alcat, when they announce a game, the release date isn't too far off, which is why I'm expecting it within like the next year.
Yeah, I think that's super realistic.
Yeah, especially because like I guess when Exodus kind of released their founder program, I was kind of like, okay, could we get before the end of 2025? But then I think they're trying to skirt around GTA, right?
Yeah.
So who knows when that's coming out? But yeah, the fact that they said coming soon for the Expanse makes me think definitely
that it's coming soon.
2025. Yeah, like soon means before the end of the year, I assume.
If we
I'll
got
make
this
smaller so
before
people...
if we got this before Exodus, that would be crazy.
I think we will, though.
I think we could.
I think Exodus will be March next year? Or what did that one thing say, Kala?
It just said 2026. It hasn't it hasn't been confirmed. And honestly, man, Exodus is so weird.
It is.
I don't know what they're doing.
Like, is it?
Well, Exodus was supposed to release this year. There was a rumor, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a leak, but there was someone said, an insider said on Reset Era that Exodus was going to release this year. But because of Grand Theft Auto, obviously it has been moved to next year, and then they confirmed that date. But I don't know what that actually, like, I feel like they keep... Did I just get an ad on my stream? What the hell?
The heck?
I turned this off. I'm so sorry. But yeah, so I don't know what to expect from Exodus, because I feel like they keep releasing stuff. Like, they have the Traveler's Handbook, the episode in Secret Level. Yeah, then they have they're getting ready to release the encyclopedia. They have the Archimedes engine. Like, they have all this expanded stuff. They did the tabletop RPG, like, you know, series on like YouTube, and I don't understand, because we don't know when the game is coming out.
Yeah.
So all of this isn't marketing for the game, but like they're releasing all of this stuff. I don't know. It's
weird.
It's so weird.
I don't think that's like on them though, because I think they thought it would release in 2025, and I think that would track with all of the stuff they were.
Yeah, but they're still
doing.
releasing stuff even after that confirmation of 2026.
Oh, okay.
They're still
I
doing
haven't been
stuff.
too on top of
Yeah, and
besides
like
for the YouTube thing.
Yeah, and like on James Olin's Twitter, he's been revealing pages of the Exodus Encyclopedia, and he's already posted like almost 45 pages of a 300 book. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, can you stop? Like, I want to see the book when it comes out. I don't want to see it all on Twitter.
I love that.
Like, chill.
Also, I have a Fang in the chat is asking, was the ad an underwear brand? Remember last time?
Oh, I don't remember.
Remember when we were streaming, you randomly had like a briefs ad appear on your channel.
Nice.
Why couldn't they give me a video game ad? That makes no sense.
I don't know. It was the funniest thing though. Anyway, sorry to detract, but Exodus has been definitely very confusing in terms of the when is it coming out. And I don't remember when we had chatted before, but when we had brought up how Exodus's thing was getting somewhat like delayed and stuff, I remember somebody in the chat had said that the next Mass Effect's marketing has also been super weird, where it's like they released that one trailer in 2020 and then just absolutely nothing.
But I think that's normal, though. Those trailers, like, we've seen...
The proof of life
and
one, yeah.
I think people need to get used to that. Like, people need to get used to having a trailer for a game that is not coming out for several years, because these studios, they need to build momentum, they need to attract devs, they need to keep investors, you know, happy. It sucks, but like, I think that that's the reality of, and it's true. Mark Dara said that the reason that that trailer exists was because because BioWare needed to show EA that people were still invested in their games. That's why that trailer exists. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it makes sense. It sucks. It's annoying because it's been 4.5 years since that trailer.
Yeah.
And the game was still in pre-production at the beginning of this year.
I still think partly too that trailer is still marketing for Legendary Edition, because that trailer came out a month after they announced Legendary Edition.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
So it's all probably tied in together.
Oh yeah. No, for sure. Okay, some stuff on the Expanse. So I wanted to ask you guys, and I'm struggling to pull up the trailer here on my thing, so I'm just randomly playing the Mass Effect trailer.
I've got the trailer on mine if people can see mine.
Yeah, if you have both of our streams over, go watch Cos while I try to troubleshoot this. You both have watched The Expanse. So I wanted to just get a reaction from you guys when you were watching it. Did you know that you were watching an Expanse trailer at any point, or?
The second I saw the ship.
The ship is very and then the boss mang on the cup, and then the boots with the little tap. Yeah, I think it looks exactly like you would expect the Expanse to look.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, because I did not know what the heck I was watching. Like, because obviously I had only watched the first 5 episodes, and like that was like years ago, so I didn't know what it was until it like popped up. But I assume, like, I guess from your guys' experience then, seeing the trailer, because I wasn't sure whether we were like, that's not going to be a cutscene of any kind, right? That was just only made for the trailer.
I mean, that we don't really know. This could just be a trailer, but they did say that and these are companions. Like, this is the protagonist and the 2 companions. These 2 guys have been confirmed to be companions.
Okay.
But they did say the game has a lot of cinematics. So this could be one. I do think it's more of like a trailer thing, but I mean, we don't really know. Yeah. I assume it's more of a trailer though.
Okay. So I guess off of that then, like, when you guys saw it, what is your guys' expectation for it being, like, do you guys want it to be very, very similar to the show? Obviously, it's going to be set in the same universe, and a few of the actors are going to be in it as well, right? Like, from the show. I guess, what is your guys' expectation as people who have just watched the show, like, and are huge fans of it for the game?
I think it should definitely at least keep the same tone as the show, because The Expanse, and especially in the television show, is a really dark and gritty, mature universe. And so I think it should be consistent with that, absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think that they've kind of already spoken about how they want it to be true to that. So that is what I expect. And the Expanse world is, I wish it was a bit darker, but it's still pretty gritty. Like, it's still got, you know, like, it's not about humans versus aliens, like kind of Mass Effect, but it's more about humans versus humans, and humans fucking suck. So yeah, it still has that like darkness and, you know, everything that you would kind of expect from a sci-fi setting is what the Expanse has. I really love the show, so I'm super excited for the game. I just bought the books too.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, I think it looks really good.
Yeah, and it's a universe, like it's really unique in the sci-fi realm in the sense that it really pushes how much space sucks. Like
Yeah.
the space is just a complete horror story in the Expanse
Yeah.
universe. And
I feel like sorry, finish the thought.
No, you're good. You're good.
No, I was gonna say, like, something that really, I was super confused after watching the trailer, because when I had first seen it, I was watching Summer Game Fest, and for some reason I completely missed the reveal. So I only caught it after Kala had covered it, just on Twitter.
It was on Future Game Show.
Oh, okay, that's why I missed it. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't at Summer Game Fest.
So I had absolutely no clue what it was going in. I just saw that you were excited. So I was like, okay, Kala's excited. Then go check out whatever the heck this thing is. And what I had heard going in was that, like, the dev team was inspired by Mass Effect, and, you know, it was going to involve like romance and, you know, the two companions as allies and stuff like that. But when I was watching the trailer, I was not really getting Mass Effect vibes. Like, I was very confused when I was watching it. And I guess, like, I had absolutely, or I guess very little experience with the show. So it just felt like another thing that was happening. And I feel like maybe only fans of the show that knew, like, what was happening, like you guys, where you saw the ship and you were like, oh man, I know what's happening here. I know this is the Expanse. Like, I feel like you guys got so super hype. And I feel like I want to get hype, but it almost feels like I need to, like, get into the, like, watch the show and read the books and stuff like that in order to fully get there, especially because, like, the Expanse is harder sci-fi. And Mass Effect, like you said, Fight, like, space is viewed as almost like an enemy in the Expanse universe. But in Mass Effect, it just exists. You know, it's something that the Normandy flies through or what have you, right? So
Exactly.
I guess, yeah, like, what would you guys suggest, I guess, as huge fans of the series and the IP, in terms of someone like me that just knows absolutely nothing? Like, do we start with the show? Do we start with the books? Like, what do you think we need to know going in, knowing that some of the actors from the show are going to be in it and stuff?
Well, the books are the original base content for the Expanse universe, but then I think this game is going to connect a lot more to, like, the TV show's adaptation of it. So I think if there's a starting point for people getting into the Expanse universe for the first time, it might be safest to start with the show first, and then if you're wanting to just play the game.
So here's what I would recommend, because they've actually already revealed when the game takes place. So it takes place between it starts at season 1 and goes through the second season halfway. So the first 2 seasons and the first half of the 3rd season, and then it covers the first 2 books. So if you want to get familiar with the world, if you want to, you know, learn more about the Expanse, then at least watch the first 2.5 seasons. Maybe read the books if you want to, but they've also said that they want the game to be very introductory friendly, so that people who haven't played the games can come in and enjoy it too, without having all this extensive knowledge about the game. So they're gonna have like a glossary and, like, systems that will tell you about events and terminology and stuff like that as well, because I mean, it's a pretty fleshed out world, and that's something that I'm really excited for. I wrote a like Mass Effect top 10 mysteries, and through that I realized that aside from the main story mysteries, there's really not a lot of stuff that you would expect in a game that takes place in space.
Yeah,
I feel like it's missing a lot of that mystery, where the Expanse, and I mean, even Exodus has already really kind of set up these unanswered questions, and Mass Effect didn't really have too many. So I think that's something that people can kind of expect that's different, is that Mass Effect is very linear, and this game is going to be linear too, but the world in itself feels bigger to me, I guess.
Right. Yeah. I guess like I had watched the first episode last night, and it feels like there's more room for conflict, I guess. And there was definitely a mystery element from the get-go. Like I think Mass Effect 1 had the most kind of mystery elements to it,
sure.
in terms of like, what they didn't even know that the Citadel and mass relays were built by the Reapers. Like everyone thought it was just the Protheans. And there were so many mysteries around, the conduit and all that stuff. So I assume, that type of vibe. Would you say that it would be accurate to say that just for Mass Effect fans trying to jump into the Expanse, maybe the more sciencey elements of Andromeda and like Mass Effect 1 is a good starting place to kind of go in with that type of expectation rather than like 2 and 3?
I don't know. A couple of things I thought about for people jumping into this game as their first Expanse experience is there's two main complaints that I can already foresee people having if this is their first time doing anything with the Expanse. And the first one is like obviously no aliens, and I know that's a big critique that Starfield had and other genres that don't have like any alien fictional creatures. And I mean, obviously there's a little bit of that in here, but there aren't any like alien civilizations or anything like that, and especially in the context of this timeline here. So I think I could maybe see that being a complaint for first time fans. And then also like they're pushing just a little bit of semi-soft exploration with this Expanse game, and the fact that the Expanse universe only takes place in the solar system could maybe feel small to some people, but it really depends on like how much they really dive into exploring how big the Expanse world actually is in this game. So those are two things that I thought about initially.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. Like, the Expanse does have aliens, kind of.
It's
but
complicated.
but it's not like Mass Effect aliens.
Okay.
So, yeah, I just think that, the team of Alcat is like very clearly trying to appeal to Mass Effect fans, which is good. Like, I think that there is enough crossover for them to do that. But people should not go in expecting actual aliens. It's more about the socio-economic and like the political landscape, and like what does space look like after humans have tried colonizing it, and what does space look like when humans are shitty.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. So it's more like a more gritty, realistic version.
Yeah.
In a smaller setting.
Yeah.
Than Mass Effect, I guess. Yeah. Okay. No, yeah. I think I can get behind it. But I was very confused watching the trailer, knowing, I guess, the context beforehand of the devs being like, yeah, we really want this to like, we were inspired by the trilogy and stuff like that. And I was like, there's no aliens. Like, I guess I was expecting something to potentially like fill my Mass Effect void while waiting for the next Mass Effect, but it's kind of more
It'll
adjacent.
probably be Exodus, if anything, which was going to have like more, like, the aliens in Exodus are still human and like, Earth based, but there's going to be a lot of variety, and I think that they're going to really invest in that. Like, their changelings and their awakened animals are going to be big selling points.
Right.
But for the Expanse, I think it's more like, imagine Mass Effect with no aliens, and it mostly takes place on Earth and the Citadel, and you're dealing with like the Council a ton because people like can't get their shit together, I guess. is how I would compare them. But I think they're
Gotcha.
unique enough. Yeah.
Definitely. I think in the Expanse, when it comes to lore and story, you're probably not going to get much Mass Effect vibes at all from that. But in the trailer that they showed for the game, as soon as the gameplay came on, I was like, oh yeah, that's Mass Effect. Like it looks like a next-gen Mass Effect game from that little snippet of gameplay that we saw.
Yeah. No, yeah, I
it
think
makes
the
me excited
gameplays-
to see what Mass Effect 5 could actually look like, if it exists.
Hey, I swear, guys, I just
If it's real.
I feel like that's
It's coming.
where we're at.
It's coming. Trust.
Okay, I have a couple things in my chat, I guess, where I had seen a couple like theories going by, and obviously I mainly do theories. So did you guys want to end off the stream with a couple theory stuff? Because I feel like we haven't got through. I'm not sure where Fight stands, I guess, on any of this stuff. I know that Cal is usually just, no Shepard and just, just with a knife. So Fight, I wanted to ask you some stuff on your theories for the next Mass Effect. I guess, Kala, where do you want to start in terms of the theory stuff?
Timeline. Where do you think the
Timeline?
next game is going to take place?
Timeline. Okay, let's go.
Okay, where do I think the next game is going to take place? I think it will take place, after Mass Effect 3, but towards close to the Andromeda timeline. I think that the video you released, Kala, a while ago, the 700 years in the future one, is the theory video I think I've resonated the most out of every theory video for Mass Effect 5 I've seen.
Wait, sorry, which one?
The one with where she's talking about how it takes place hundreds of years in the future. Was it 700 in that video? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was like 600. Yeah.
So I think we're gonna see a distant Milky Way future, probably closer to that Andromeda time, and that's why I also think that it's Jal and Ryder in the bar with Liara.
Am I the only one that just believes wholeheartedly in the black hole in the middle of the Helios cluster being a wormhole? Like, I feel like
we were talking. I remember talking with people about that before Andromeda even came out. Like,
they can't just put that there and then not do anything with it. I feel like it has to be a thing.
I'm here for it. Let's do it.
I don't know. Sorry, I don't want to bias you. But so you do think it's going to be a larger time jump?
Yeah, that's probably where I would say. But there's also the problem is there's so much evidence for so many different time periods.
Yep.
And that's the issue here, is that nothing makes sense, but everything also makes sense for different things. And so my answer right now, I guess, is 700 years after Mass Effect 3. But will it actually be? I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I guess off of that then, what do you think about the protagonist?
Brand new protagonist, not Shepard or Ryder. I think it's gonna be someone brand new.
I assume on the scale of Shepard to Ryder, you would want a more Ryder-esque protagonist?
No. I prefer Shepard over Ryder for sure. I just don't. I wouldn't say I have the same passionately critique feelings that Kala has about Ryder. I wouldn't say I love Ryder. I don't dislike Ryder at all.
Gotcha.
I think Ryder's fine. I like Ryder.
All right. Kala, do you have another theory?
Fuck them kids. I'll say that about Ryder. Also, I just got an ad on your page now too. The ads are just everywhere.
Wait, on my page?
Yeah. I don't know what.
What type of ad was it?
YouTube is. I don't know. I click skip.
Okay.
I don't know what they're doing.
Oh,
Say what you want about Ryder, but we can bring into Mass Effect 5 the Ryder romance scenes, because those were great.
No.
Oh, really?
Okay,
I'd want nothing to do with that.
I'm so
okay,
sorry.
Wait, I want to put a poll up actually.
You know what? I think I'm by no means a prude at all. Like, trust me, if you guys knew what my other job is, you would know that. But no, the romance scenes in Andromeda, to me, are just, I find them really cringy. The only one that I think didn't cringe me out was Jaws, and even that I was like,
I don't know. I saw Jaws. I didn't think we needed that. It made me uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie.
Would you rather have?
I'm all for fade to black, personally.
Fade to black, 100%. Look,
so
if I had to rank,
Veilguard then?
Okay, first of all, there was nothing in the Veilguard.
Yeah, no, I don't. It was not spicy enough.
Look, just give me the Mass Effect 3 version. Okay? Show me a little bit and then fade to black. I do not need to see anything more. Like, I just, the Mass Effect Andromeda thing, it went too far. It went too far.
Have either of you played Baldur's Gate 3 and done Minthara's romance?
Oh my god, yes. That's too much.
I haven't.
That was too much,
dude.
but I was also like, I don't think we need to have that, but it's also fine if we do. But I think what was so good about that was it wasn't like just about, it was like very character focused. Like, if that makes sense, like there was a narrative purpose behind it.
That's what I would prefer. Yeah, like if you're gonna go there, at least have an actual almost story reason, if that makes any sense.
I'm all for the romance scenes, but I just like Cora's was like slap, 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 and it's like, okay, we get it, we can stop. And knowing that they had to cut it down because it was longer.
Oh man, can you
my
imagine?
God. Oh my God. Like, bro, chill. Like, I know some dude was like animating that and he was like, we should make this longer. And everybody in the room was like, get this man off this.
Gamble was like, yep, let's do it.
Jesus.
Yeah, if Gamble's the executive producer, right, and he was the executive producer on Andromeda, then I guess we're getting
I think they
Mass
need
Effect Andromeda romance.
I think they need some of that. Like, I think they need some, especially after Veilguard, which felt like it didn't really have a lot of like spicier scenes. And I don't need to see, but there's like,
you don't need to see everything.
Narratively, you're missing out on something. Yeah, like narratively, if you're doing a romance, like Minthara's was like very in your face, but it felt very true to her character. And like, so did Astarion, so did Halsin's with his bear. I mean,
bear.
Like, I think if it adds something narratively, if it explores an aspect of the character, if it adds a dimension to the romance, then they should do it. But I think that, like, you know, naked sex scenes for the sake of it is like, no thanks, I'll pass.
I think for me, it just kind of adds on to, like, if you're already in a dark and mature universe, I think including just a little bit of that stuff like helps emphasize that, hey, this is a mature story we're telling, this is a mature universe we're in, and just kind of doubles down on that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I like what Blaze said in the chat here, like Inquisition's romance was good because it focused on the before and the after. I feel like that's what I liked about the Mass Effect 3. Like, I liked the conversation, because obviously, like, Liara romance over here. I liked the conversation that Shepard and Liara had before and after. Like, you could even like just fade to black, even like just after they kiss. Like, I wouldn't really care. But I feel like just focus on that kind of like what's at the heart of the romance, you know? I don't know though.
Well,
yeah, same.
Kala, you better be ready for Witcher 3 then, because it's crazy.
You know, this is gonna sound so silly. I have seen some of the scenes from Witcher 3, and I remember, like, it was like a compilation or something of, like, you know, the scenes, and there was that scene with, okay, Nick, I love the Emperor romance scene from Baldur's Gate 3. It's so, you know, I love it. I think it's so, I don't want to say funny, but like, I remember watching it in my room by myself and being like shy, like like covering my face, being like, "Oh my god, like what are you doing?" But it felt very like true to the character. But I totally forgot what I was. Seeing The Witcher and like that scene where he's in the tub and his foot was out. I hate feet. Okay, like I genuinely hate feet. I think feet are disgusting.
You can add it to the pile with kids. Just hate kids, hate feet.
I hate kids, hate feet. And
Handwriter.
I remember being so off-put like by that scene in this like, it was just like a TikTok or video. I don't remember what it was, and it has stuck in my mind ever since. And I'm like dreading getting to that scene and worrying that there's more feet scenes in like the romance scenes, because if you play Clair Obscur, why is there feet everywhere? Put the grippers away.
There are feet everywhere.
Put them away. I don't want to see that. It feels like it's getting to the point where it's like it's starting to feel
fan
weird.
service.
It's like getting weird.
Oh,
like,
really? I haven't played it yet, so.
Yes, I don't want to see people's feet. I don't need to see them. You keep your feet fetish to yourself. I don't want to see it. It grosses me out.
Oh.
Yes, it does feel very much like Quentin Tarantino. And that's what I thought of when I saw that shot of The Witcher 3 of him in the bathtub. I was like, his feet are like glistening from the water. I'm gonna puke. So, yeah, I'm so sorry for the people who are here and are like, I need to click out of this stream.
I love how, we're ending it with feet. I'm
so sorry.
Honestly, it's on brand. It's on brand. Surf and Bird just joined and is like, I joined and I hear feet.
I know. I'm so sorry, person. I'm so sorry.
You missed an entire stream of just feet chatter, I guess.
Heck yeah.
Oh man. All right. It's 12 over here in the Pacific time zone. Is there anything else we want to? Are we going to end it with a feet discussion?
Why don't you ask one more question?
Yeah, we got to squeeze in one more thing.
Sure. Okay. Does anyone have another question? Okay, we're talking about the Mass Effect Andromeda romance. Okay, I guess we're talking about one last theory question. One last theory question. We've done a lot of Shepard chatter. How about we end it? Let's end it with Liara, because of course, Liara's the best girl.
Yes.
Are we all Liara romancers here?
I am.
Let's go, Liara supremacy.
Go. Yes,
Yep.
Let's go.
I will say I am a big defender of the Ashley romance.
I'm looking forward to that romance. I will say, like, I feel like in Mass Effect, there's no like bad romance. Okay, let's just ignore Jacobs. I feel like besides for Jacobs, they're all pretty good.
They are.
Anyway,
I think they're.
I think Ashley has one of the more realistic romances in Mass Effect, which is why I like it.
I'm looking forward to Kaden and Ashley because I feel like it's more realistic. But yeah. Anyway, before we get sidetracked.
Yep.
In terms of the next Mass Effect, for theory stuff, what do you think? I guess twofold. What do you think Liara's role is gonna be in the next game? Like the redacted role that Gamble did with the whole Doctor, Shadow Broker, and Redacted. And the second question is, do you think she will be a companion or more of a side character?
Tough questions today.
Yeah. I gotta end it with the tough ones.
You know, it's actually funny. The first time I ever saw that Gamble tweet with the redacted statement about Liara, for some reason, the first thing that popped into my head, like without even thinking about the tweet yet, was a sorry counselor.
Oh,
I could see that.
And I was like, that'd be a little crazy. But then it's weird that I think the game takes place so far in the future, but then I'm also on the team that the Liara in the trailer we've seen is like young Mass Effect 3 Liara.
Interesting, because I think it's older.
Yeah, there's so many things wrong with what I think what the next Mass Effect game is. That's why I just don't talk about it anymore. Yeah, like I don't even know what I think, because I think so many different things that contradict each other. But I think I'd be surprised if Liara was a full-on companion again. I could definitely see her being like a more mentor or like mission giver character, like a Hackett or something like that.
I could see her being the Hackett for sure.
Same.
Yeah.
That's what I expect too.
I want her to be the companion though. Like I would just
I could
only if
see
Shepard comes back.
that too.
If Shepard comes back, I feel like in any other scenario, if it's a new pro tag, I would just be like, leave the trilogy peeps and the Andromeda peeps and just go with something new. But if Shepard comes back, I'd love to see her as a companion again.
Okay, I know that we're like getting to the end here, but I do have a question for you guys.
Go for it. Go for it.
If Liara is returning and she's older, what do you want? You know, say like 600 years have passed. What do you want her life to have looked like? Do you think she should have like moved on and found love after Shepard? Like, how do you think that the remnants of that relationship should be addressed?
That's a great question. I have not thought about this. Are you saying like if Liara was a Shepard romance specifically?
Yeah, and then we have to like, you know, she
Okay,
tells
I
us
see.
about her life, like what, and you know, 600 years have passed, this huge lifespan. What do you guys envision that her life looked like after everything in Mass Effect 3?
Oh, this question just made me so scared.
Yeah,
I have a very toxic answer.
I already know what you're gonna say. You don't even need to say it, Cal. I know that you're like, I want her to be alone and just pining after Shepard forever.
Yeah, that's probably what I would.
That's why I said it's toxic.
That's probably what I would say.
Yeah.
I would probably want Liara to be like the widow that never moved on.
It's so toxic and sad and depressing, and
it's-
like she deserves better, but I'm selfish.
Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Also, Ruse Bay saying the trailer's answering you. I feel like that's also true in terms of her still not having moved on.
Yeah,
But,
maybe.
This is a great question because I'm also currently working on a Liara breakdown that is going to take like 3 months, and I kid you not. So I have actually kind of been thinking about this. From what I can tell about her character, Shepard is everything to her, which will be part of the breakdown. And I feel like she would struggle to move on. I would want her to move on, and I honestly, like, from the bottom of my heart, this is not coming from like a toxic place or a selfish place, I don't think she would fall in love with someone else. Like, I genuinely think that. Yeah, just from what I've been analyzing about her character and stuff like that, because
I have a counterpoint to that though.
Go for it.
Okay, well, I totally agree, but that's because that's what I want. What
Right.
I actually think is that, you know, the Asari have that ingrained in them that any companion that they have will always live a shorter life than they do. Like, they know that going in. There's a conversation about it. Like, they know that.
Mhm.
So I do see like a world where part of Liara's obsession with Shepard was like being their first love, being, you know, Liara still being young. And then maybe later on in life she's like, you know, she can appreciate what she had and move on. But I also see the other version of that where like she is obsessive. She is fixated. She is.
It's kind of
about
it's a
Shepard,
little
but
bit
it's
obsessive. Yeah, like it's a little strange.
But 700 years is a long time to pine after someone. It yeah.
I think she would move on. I would hope that like her friends, if she still has friends, like if she doesn't just completely just bury herself in shadow brokery work, would be like, hey, let's move on now. You know, whether you romance her or not.
Shepard would die in Liara's young life anyways.
Yeah. So I feel like, I think I hope that it would go less from a pining to more of a I loved what we had. And I'm gonna move on in terms of not being sad and more celebrate it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think that's going to be interesting to see. And Shepard, I mean, Liara is obviously coming back.
Yeah.
I think that thing on Gamble's tweet is matriarch. That's what I think it is. But yeah, I mean, I will say though that for the naysayers about the time skip, it was Liana Rupert who is the person who reported that the time skip would be about 700 years after Mass Effect 3. Liana Rupert is very close with BioWare. She has reported on them several times. She's never ever spoken more on what she was told, but I fully believe that someone told her, because at one point that was the truth. Whether that's still the truth, because obviously that was like, several years ago. But yeah, I think it's hard to say, what the time jump is. I think Liara is older in the trailer, and that's what Liana Rupert was told. So again, if that is the truth, which I do think it is, because that is Liana Rupert, she doesn't lie, she doesn't make things up, she's close with BioWare, there's no reason to doubt her. And I don't think they fed her misinformation either. If anything, they would have just not said anything. So yeah, that's why I always lean that direction.
Well, see, I mean, I guess just a little, and just really quickly, I think it's gonna start 700 years in the future in Andromeda, and then they're gonna take the wormhole.
No.
I don't want that. I don't want that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. You don't.
It's okay though. Anything is possible.
Theory. It's unhinged.
Honestly, right now when we can theorize about literally anything is fun.
Literally,
there's
anything.
no right or wrong. So, and hopefully this N7 day we actually get something. Hopefully they show us. Yeah, we need something.
Even like at this point, I would take a single scrap of concept art, not even a trailer. Just give us anything above what they did last year.
Yeah,
would be a win.
Literally anything.
Literally just anything. Just BioWare if you're listening, please. One concept art. That's it. One. Anyway, does anybody else have any last theory questions before we wrap up?
I think we're good. But we should definitely do this again closer to N7 day. I'm
definitely
trying to get back into streaming now that I'm feeling a little bit better. So hopefully I can do some more of these. But for sure we should do something closer to to November, which is only like 5 months away.
Yeah. Do we want to do
something?
something?
It's not super far anymore. So
we could do something like the week before or something like that. See where everybody's at.
Yeah, something like that would be good.
Yeah,
I actually planned this year because I think this in 7 days is going to be big, because I think it has to be. I actually plan on streaming all day on N7 day.
Oh.
I was gonna do all the stuff that I had planned last year this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had planned a lot of stuff, and then it was quiet.
So we'll see. We'll see what they do. Hopefully it's something. Fuck. But
yeah.
All right. Well,
we'll see.
Thank you guys so much for joining today. Thank you everybody for joining and watching. And if you guys don't follow Atharia, or if you don't follow Fight, I will link both of their channels in the chat so that you can go give them a follow. And again, thank you guys so much for joining. And I will be covering the Expanse game as well, obviously Exodus, and I know that these two will as well. So make sure to give them a follow, and we will do this again soon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Everybody.
Thanks everyone.
Having a good time, and please go check out those links in the chat, and we will see what awaits us. We'll probably see you guys closer to N7 day.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for pondering as well for the $10.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye guys.